The sound of the door clicking shut was what woke me. Soft, almost gentle, but wrong enough to jolt me upright. My wife never left our room at night. Not in the middle of a vacation where everything was supposed to be about rest, sun, and laughter. I sat there in the dark, heart pounding, listening to her careful footsteps fade down the corridor. Something about the hush of it, the way she moved as though she didn't want me to notice, burned into my chest. For a moment, I told myself it was nothing. Maybe she couldn't sleep and wanted fresh air. Maybe she was restless. Maybe she was. But then why sneak? Why not wake me, whisper, "I'll be back soon," like she had 100 times before? I swung my legs over the side of the bed, the cool tile under my feet grounding me, and decided to follow. The hallway was dim, the resort's decorative lanterns casting warm pools of light on polished wood. I walked barefoot, each step deliberate, my pulse echoing louder than my footfalls. I caught sight of her just as she turned the corner, her hair loose, her dress clinging to her as if she'd been waiting for this moment all day. She didn't look like my wife heading out for a midnight stroll. She looked like a woman chasing something forbidden. I followed her at a distance, every instinct at war inside me. Part of me wanted to stop, go back, pretend I hadn't seen a thing. Another part, colder, sharper, needed to know where this path led. She moved through the resort grounds with practiced ease, avoiding the main paths, slipping between hedges, down toward the beach. And then I saw him. A man standing in the shadows near the shoreline, waiting. My stomach dropped, like the ground itself had betrayed me. She walked straight into his arms. Not tentative, not hesitant, familiar. Her body fit against his as though it had done so many times before. I watched his hand move through her hair, her fingers graze his jaw. The kind of touch that wasn't clumsy or accidental. The kind of touch that belonged to lovers. I wanted to rush forward, to scream, to demand answers. Instead, I froze. It felt like my own body was betraying me, keeping me rooted in the sand while I watched the life I thought I had crumble in front of me. Every moment replayed in my head at lightning speed. The excuses she made before this trip. The way her phone always seemed turned upside down. The nights she said she was too tired. Signs I had dismissed, wrapped in trust, convinced love was stronger than suspicion. But now? Now I couldn't deny it. I forced myself to step back, to breathe, to think. Rage was clawing at my chest, begging to be unleashed, but another voice whispered, "What if you're wrong? What if this isn't what it looks like?" That lie, the one I wanted to believe, kept me from storming across the sand. Instead, I circled closer, hiding behind a dune until I was only a few feet away, close enough to hear their voices over the waves. Her laughter carried first, soft, intimate, the kind she hadn't given me in months. Then his voice, low and teasing, "You shouldn't have come. What if he notices?" And her reply, words that sliced deeper than any blade, "He won't. He never notices anymore." My breath caught. My chest burned. I had noticed. I had noticed everything. I just hadn't wanted to see. I pressed my hand to my mouth, choking down the sound of a broken man. They kissed then, slow, lingering, cruel in its tenderness. And in that moment something inside me fractured. This wasn't just betrayal. It was the quiet erasure of everything we had built, everything I thought we were. I stumbled back, my feet unsteady in the sand. I didn't confront them. I didn't drag her away or demand explanations. Instead, I walked back to the room alone, the night pressing heavy on my shoulders. Every step felt like I was carrying a coffin, the coffin of our marriage, of the man I had been before this night. When she finally returned, hours later, I was lying in bed, pretending to sleep. She slipped under the covers, her skin still carrying the faint scent of the ocean of him. She curled her back to me, just as she had for weeks, and whispered, almost too quiet to hear, "Good night." The word was ordinary, but it hollowed me out. The next morning, sunlight poured through the curtains like nothing had happened. She smiled over breakfast, laughed about the day's plans, leaned over to kiss my cheek as if she hadn't buried a knife in me hours earlier. And I played along. I smiled, nodded, let her hold my hand. But inside, every touch burned, every word stung. I was no longer her husband. I was her cover. I told myself I'd wait, that I'd gather the strength, the evidence, the courage to end it. But deep down I knew the truth. I was waiting because I couldn't yet let go. Because love, even betrayed, doesn't vanish overnight. That was the cruelest part. I still loved her. Even as I hated her. Even as I planned my exit. That night, when she slipped out again, I didn't follow. I stayed in the room, staring at the ceiling, letting the truth settle into me like poison. Some betrayals come with a bang, shattering everything in an instant. Others seep in slowly, until you realize the life you thought you were living was already gone. Mine was both. A silent midnight step, a kiss on the beach, a whisper that said I was invisible. The resort staff must have thought we were the perfect couple, holding hands by day, swimming together in the pool, smiling for photos. And maybe in a way, we were perfect. Perfect at pretending, perfect at hiding. But I knew. And that knowledge would never leave me. By the time we packed to leave, I had made my choice. I wouldn't confront her here. In this place that was meant for happiness. I would wait until we were home, where her lies couldn't hide behind palm trees and ocean waves. She thought I was blind. She thought I didn't notice. But I did. And when the truth finally came crashing down, it would not be me who broke. It would be her. The last night, as she slept beside me, I whispered into the darkness, words only the shadows heard. I noticed everything. And with that, I closed my eyes, carrying both the weight of betrayal and the strange, steady calm of a man who had finally seen the truth.